Jacob Khachatryan is a criminal lawyer who will not promise you the world just to sail you up the river. With his experience and skills, you get a defense attorney that is truly by your side, defending you at every stage of the prosecution, including a jury trial where he's had over a 92% success rate for his clients. Whether it's a DUI, domestic violence, or even something as serious as murder, Jacob is the guy you need by your side. That's Jacob Khachatryan, attorney at law. Call 747-755-5555 for Jacob Khachatryan, criminal defense.
Thank you.
This is Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show network, with your hosts, Jake Berryfield and Mike Regalado, and occasionally some friends, talking all things UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
Hello, welcome to What's Bruin Show. I'm your host, Jake Merrifield, and I am here because we split the show in half because, me and Mike thought we were running late today. I had to go to a doctor's appointment for my son. We were watching the Dodger game, and I'm like, well, how much are we really going to have to talk about? Turns out we had 2 hours of stuff to talk about. So we're splitting the show in half. Here is the second half in which we will talk about the Minnesota game. We will have your listener calls from Minnesota, not from Minnesota, from the Penn State game. Thank you very much for calling. And then we'll have a What's Brewing with You, where I talk about my experience up at Cal, and Mike talks about his experience taking his daughters across the county for a haircut. So, or I guess picking them up from. But it's the What's Bruin Show on the What's Bruin Show Network. Thank you very much for listening on Instagram and Twitter and on Threads or whatever. It's at What's Bruin Show. What's Bruin Show at gmail.com is the email. You can listen on the Substack, what'sbruin.substack.com, or patreon.com/What's Bruin Show, or just what'sbruinshow.com for just a couple bucks a month.
$2.
You can support the show. I do have a couple bonus shows up, like the Rotten Lunch, where I talk to Michael and Alicia from Reign of Troy about what's going on with us. I've been trying to record that for the last couple weeks. I haven't, but I will soon, I promise. And then also, we got the BJ edition with me and Bill.
Welcome to the BJ edition.
I'll get another one of those up pretty soon as well. But you can also call the hotline, 805-399-4WBS, second Reign of Troy. And like I said, your listener calls are going to be coming up soon. But thank you very much, and without any further ado, if you listened to the last show, you heard me and Mike talking about our thoughts of the Penn State game. Mike did a post-game you can listen to. But then in the last episode, we also talked about Garbers versus Martyn and the change in the game plan, and was it a game that we should be embarrassed by, or shooting rainbows at our ass, or somewhere in between. Here's a hint. It's somewhere in between. It's neither of those two things. But I thought it was. I thought we had a really nice discussion about it. So go ahead and listen. But with that being said, let's get into the rest of the show, and now we will get to the game that will be UCLA hosting the Minnesota Golden Gophers at the Rose Bowl for the first time as a Big Ten opponent.
It's the game that will be. It's the game that will be, yo. It's the game that will be.
Okay, the Bruins will take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers, first time in Big Ten play, this Saturday at 6 p.m. Thankfully, it's not another super late night game. I can deal with 6. I'll get home at a decent time. I can still do a post game. It's all good. For the first time in a month, they're not on. Well, the first time this season, they're not on a national broadcast.
Yeah, right.
In order to get the maximum amount of exposure to their big loss. And ironically, this is a game which they may have a chance to actually win. For the first time since Hawaii. They would still, it still would be an upset. ESPN Win Predictor has them as a 40% chance of victory in this game. Right now, the spread is Minnesota -5. All right, opened at 5. Now it's -5.5. And the over-under is somewhere in the neighborhood of 40.5. So, that's what the Bruins are dealing with. It's going to be, if I didn't already say, it's on Big Ten Network. Golden Gophers come in 3-3, 1-2 in conference. That one was a big one in which they were storming the field against none other than the USC Trojans. I know that Michael and Alicia were so sad about that.
USC, do not, no, bad USC.
Which is weird.
Do not give up a touchdown on the final drive. Yeah.
It was funny because I was watching the end of that, and I saw when Minnesota had their final touchdown, and that was a ballsy play by PJ Fleck to not only go for it on third down, but then to just go, hey, fourth down, this is what we got to do. And he was on KFan, their
Mike
their
told
radio
me
station.
off the air he was in love with PJ Fleck. That's okay.
I'm loving the PJ Fleck, and he talked about
could have been the Bruins coach, Mike,
on the radio show. Yeah, I know, right? On the radio show out there on Tuesday. how he talked about, well, what happens, we could go for 3 points or we can go for 7, really make it hard for them. And then, they get the touchdown and there's still 56 seconds left. And I was watching with my kids, especially my son Hugo, who's really getting into football lately. And he goes, oh, Minnesota's going to win. I'm like, let's calm down. 56 seconds is a lot, especially when you have at the time or before the game, the 14th best passing offense in the nation in USC. And sure enough, they go down the field. But luckily, last second interception to
Get all the way down to the 20.
Kill the Trojans. Chances of winning, just absolutely beautiful.
That was.
But yeah, that was
a nice result
thing.
in a day of pretty much
sad, exactly
crushing results for all of us.
But for the whole game, I was in and out of that game. But from what I saw, and then went back and saw the highlights, that was just a grinded out game. Like Minnesota just did not give any ground. They seriously did not treat USC like the number 11 team in the nation. They definitely limited their passing game because Minnesota is the top passing defense in the nation, which that's going to be interesting to see because UCLA's strength on offense is their passing game.
Whoa. Let's not say UCLA's strength on offense. They don't have a strength. Let's say
exactly.
You say the thing that UCLA attempts to do
is best
more
at.
than anything.
Fine.
The thing that UCLA is marginally better at than something else. Let's not say strength.
The ball.
There has been no strength on offense so far.
Okay.
They have not scored more than 13 fucking points.
They're
right?
better at throwing the ball than running the ball.
I don't even say they're better. I would say they attempt to do it more often.
My point is, Jake, that they're going to have a hell of a time going against Minnesota,
but
who has the top.
What happens if Minnesota's really good at stopping the pass, but UCLA, they already were very good, so no, it just negates everything.
Yeah, no, that's true.
To your point, they did hold SC to 5.3 yards per pass, 200 total yards, yada, yada. That is not bad. If you look at Minnesota's stats, they are generally a pretty good defense in the Big Ten. Not stellar, not amazing, but they're a pretty good defense in the Big Ten, and their offense is an okay, mediocre offense, more towards the bottom of the Big Ten. So that
definitely a mediocre offense. Yeah,
that kind of fits the UCLA profile. Although they're better on both sides of the ball so far this year, than UCLA is, right? And that's I think why they're favored by 5.5 points at the Rose Bowl coming into this, right? Because they have shown at least the ability to be semi-competent every once in a while on offense. They've scored, 24 points in a game. They've scored 24 points in a game more than once. They actually put up 48 against Rhode Island. Gee whiz. It's not that big of a deal, but, they put up 27 against Nevada. So they put up 14 against Iowa. We'll see how many points the Bruins put up against Iowa. But the bottom line is they haven't been as piss poor on offense as the Bruins, and their defense has probably been a little bit better, so that's where the spread comes from. I do have a quick round of trivia, and then we're going to be done with this because what else are we going to say about this? I really think this game is more about what UCLA hasn't done yet, and if they could turn that around, they'd have a good opportunity to win this game, but it's more in their control than I think anything that Minnesota's going to do to them.
Now it's time for Jake's Trivia, brought to you by Jake, bringing you all the coolest trivia of UCLA football's opponent for this coming week. And now, Jake.
Mikey, what do the state of California and University of Minnesota have in common with each other?
They're both in a Soundgarden song in which Chris Cornell mocks Minnesota and kind of props up California.
Feeling Minnesota!
But look in California!
Mike.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, my God.
What
dude.
what do they have similar?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Mike. Oh, no, that's not the one I want. That's not even what I was going for, bro.
Yeah.
I've been thinking, fucking fantastic.
I've been thinking about that for the last 3-4 days.
That was amazing. No, actually, what I was going to say is...
wait, what was the question again? What do they have? What are the
does the state of
similarities?
California and the University of Minnesota have in common?
I don't know.
They were both founded in 1851.
Oh, nice.
I think. Even though it was California in 51 or 49?
UCLA was 1919.
No, UCLA. I'm saying not University of California.
Oh, State of California.
State of California.
Oh,
When was California founded? Would you look that up, please?
I will look that up.
Look that up. Anyways, that's what I think. I'm stealing this trivia from Michael Castillo from Reign of Troy. Thank you so much. While you're looking that up, do you know the origin story of the Minnesota's unique mascot, the Golden Gopher?
Really quickly, you said 1850?
1851.
California was founded September 9th, 1850. Just the year before. So same time.
Mike, your answer to the trivia question was correct. My answer to the trivia question was wrong. Kudos to you.
That's all right.
Dude, you
1 year, actually.
You effing nailed it with the Soundgarden. My God. You nailed it. I've never been happier with you in my life. That's like the greatest thing you've ever done.
This is where music at sports cross over in this podcast. Yes.
That's right. So, what's the story behind the Golden Gopher? Or would you just like me to tell you?
It is a great bar in downtown Los Angeles.
Is it really?
Yeah, you never been to the Golden Gopher downtown?
I've never been to the Golden Gopher downtown.
I forgot about this too. This is another thing I thought about over the weekend. There should be like a pre-party on Friday night for Minnesotans and UCLAans at the Golden Gopher downtown. But it might be too late. I don't know. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep.
It's a great idea.
Okay, what is the
It's a great
story
idea, Mike.
behind the Golden Gopher?
Minnesota became the Gopher State because of a political cartoon in 1857 that mocked a railroad proposal in western Minnesota with the heads of politicians on the bodies of gophers. The Gopher State stuck. Golden Gophers came from the 1930s when play-by-play announcer Halsey Hall used it to refer to the football team's solid gold uniforms, the Golden Gophers. So look at there. That's pretty fun.
Nice.
That's good stuff. One more thing. One weird Minnesota fact, according to Michael Castillo from Reign of Troy. Thank you, Michael. We really appreciate your help.
I'm happy that UCLA won.
Me too. I will hope they do win. Minnesota is one of two major universities built on the banks of the Mississippi River. Can you believe that shit?
Yeah.
I was just on the Mississippi the other day, and I know the answer to this question, right? Can you name the other?
The other
university on the banks of the Mississippi.
Is it Division I? Like what kind of university are we talking about?
Oh, yeah. They might have just beaten SC in the last few years.
God, I kind of know the path. But
think of where I just
LSU?
was. Close, but no. I took a jog through this campus.
Oh, yes.
Tulane.
Yeah, Tulane.
There you go. Yeah, Tulane.
Yeah.
Tulane, yeah.
There you go.
Very good. I love that. I love...
Tulane.
Good, yeah.
Yeah,
good.
you get Princess Bride and Soundgarden
So there we go.
references in this podcast.
There's your trivia. We hope the Bruins can win this game, but by no means can we take it for granted. If they come in and play like they played the first number of weeks, they're going to lose this game. Unless they noticeably improve on offense, they're going to lose this game, right? If they come in and have the same defensive effort, they'll have a chance to win this game, but the offense needs to be better than it was in every single game this year, or they're going to lose this game. Does that sound fair to you, Mike?
Yeah.
With that being said, Mikey, what are you predicting? I know you love the predictions. I hate the predictions, but you love them. So I'm going to do it for you.
I do. It gets it gets the fan base as much as
and by the way, on Twitter, our people have been you'll retweet it and then they'll come out with their own predictions. So it is good in that regard.
That's what I like. The engagement. There we go. I'm going to go out on a limb here. It's going to be close. I'm going to say UCLA takes down Minnesota 20-18.
I like it. This sounds good to me. Let's say go Bruins. Let's say
UCLA. UCLA. Fight.
I will say this. I'm going to predict a Bruin victory right now.
Let's do it.
Because if they don't win this game, I can't imagine I'm going to predict them beating Rutgers at Rutgers.
Oh, God, no.
Nebraska at Nebraska.
Iowa
at the Rose Bowl. Washington at Washington.
Well,
hell no, they just beat fucking Michigan and started the field.
Yeah, but
Mike, Washington's played really good. They've just had some bad luck.
Yeah.
Washington's a good team, way better than I thought they'd be. And then we get to SC and Fresno State.
All right,
so
what's your prediction?
I'm just saying, now if they win this game, God damn it, I'm saying they're going to beat Rutgers and they're going to beat Nebraska. Of course I know. If they win, I'm of course.
Yeah.
But this is this in my mind right now, in my mind's eye, this is the only one I can see them winning until I get to SC, which I will never predict them to lose.
Oh yeah, that's
Of course.
That too.
Yeah, whether they win or lose, I'm never going to predict
Yeah,
them to lose.
exactly.
Whatever. We're all fraudulent anyway.
Especially after this weekend, that's looking pretty good.
Nothing looks good, Mike.
The fact that
let's temper our enthusiasm.
Okay. For you, from UCLA's perspective, but this looked good. The fact that USC went from ranked number 11th in the nation to not being ranked at all.
I do like that. That's good. Anywho, my prediction, Mike, yours was 2018?
20-18, yes.
So you're saying 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals? Is that how you're going to make that up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pagani for life.
I'm going to say the Bruins are going to win 21 the hard way.
Oh.
7 field goals.
Oh, my.
They're just going to be just unbelievably productive. Unbelievably productive.
I'm putting that in there.
I want you to put 21, quote, 7 field goals, and they're going to beat Minnesota 21-20.
Damn, nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to go
That
with.
is awesome.
It's ridiculous.
7 field goals.
It's absolutely ridiculous, but I'm going 21-20.
I like it.
All right. Well, Mikey, I'm gonna do listener feedback, and then we're gonna do what's brewing with you. So
right.
You're gonna disappear for a minute, and then we'll do what's brewing with you right after that. All right. So thank you once again for calling the What's Brewing Hotline, 805-399-4WBS, Second Reign of Troy. Got a bunch of calls. We heard earlier from my buddy Jason Rubel talking about his experience at Penn State, but now we got some calls related to what actually happened versus Penn State. Here we go. First up, we got Des.
Hey guys, Des from Santa Clarita, and I guess my 10-2 season is pretty much dead in the water. But let's be real, it was never going to happen. Not this year with a new coaching staff, whatever. Blah 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 blah. But I will say this: the play calling for Justin Martyn was a lot better, a little bit, I guess. Nothing down the field, long developing, hoping to God that the line will protect you, and if you take away the sack yards, 100-yard rushing game, improvement, looking good. But the one thing I guess I can say is, even if we don't win a game this year, hopefully they can recruit offensive linemen and pick up offensive linemen. I don't know what the deal with time-wise this current line. I think the guy from UNLV or Houston, I think it was Houston, I think he only has 1 year left, so there's no gelling there. And I think maybe somebody else along the line is also going to be gone as of next year. So if we could probably get cohesiveness with the line, that will go a long way into protection and running lane, yada, yada, yada. But I still blame this on Chip for not being an actual recruiter, having some of his better recruiting classes due to the transfer portal and not actually building anything. He probably got out while the gift was good more than him not finding a head coaching job. But it is what it is. Defense looks awesome. A whole damn near 2 quarters of, keeping goose eggs for Penn State until, way too late. And even then, some of the touchdowns that they got were just, broken down plays, or like it was like a rub route to score the final touchdown, things like that. But, it is what it is. We have a whole new group coming in. It's a rebuilding year. Love you guys. Go Bruins.
Des, thank you once again for calling. And yeah, I apologize. I called you deluded in the summer because of your 10-2 prediction, and it turned out I was right. I was more right than I was wrong. But we still love you for it. And, I can't, hate you for trying to be an optimist when it comes to the Bruins. And certainly, we all, relative to how they actually performed, we were all just like amazingly optimistic in the offseason compared to what they've actually done on the field. So, we're all mistaken in that regard. But getting to, this being a rebuilding year, I just hope there's something. I hope they do a little rebuilding, right? Because so far it's just been a lot of, it's very, very, very depressing. And as we said before, not a whole lot to take from a Route 4 up until the little small victories we got in this Penn State game. What I will say is, if they're actually trying to change their approach to kind of mitigate the problems that they have, whether it's problems protecting. And I still would say this line is in large part, what changed. A lot of the bodies on the offensive line are the same, but the scheme changed and the terminology changed and all those, the coach changed. So once again, I would pin the offensive line problems more on the coaching and the game plan than anything else. But, here we are. But regardless, I do look at it as a positive sign that they kind of changed the game plan up a little bit versus Penn State, certainly going to more short passes. We already talked about the Martyn versus Garbers comparison a little bit earlier. But what I will say is that, they did throw the ball shorter more often with Martyn back there than with Garbers back there, half the amount of time, as we said earlier. But if you look at how both quarterbacks did on their short passes, we're talking about from either behind the line of scrimmage or up to 9 yards downfield. Martyn was 77% on his passes, 21 for 27. Garbers was almost as good, 51 for 70 on those passes. So regardless of who you have in the ball game, that's just an easier pass to make, generally speaking, right? You're going to have a much higher completion percentage on those, generally speaking. I would like it if now they incorporate some short passes, some bubble screens, things like that, but not only are they throwing short to just a couple of guys, in this case, it was like, the tight ends and Loya and the running backs. This is where, you allow Sturdivant to start making plays for themselves, or Titus or these other guys. Get your other playmakers involved, get them the ball, try to get it to them in some sort of space, and let them try to make some plays. Is it going to work every time? No, but they'll certainly have a chance. One of the things that was, glaring to me in the Berkeley versus the Cal versus Miami game was they didn't really have an offense that was reliable at all. Ott was not able to run the ball against Miami at all. They scored a bunch of points on plays where, they got Ott out in space and he just made a big play, or a guy got loose, kind of in a medium part of the field, and Mendoza was able to make the throw, and their ball carrier was able to make a play downfield. They have to figure out ways in this offense to do that. And I think since they don't have a line that can protect very long, you have to try to get these completions somewhere in the neighborhood, close to the line of scrimmage, and then hope that your athletes can make plays. And that's one thing we've seen all summer. The Bruins do have some athletes on the edges. So try to take advantage of that, right? There's no reason why Sturdivant should be putting up a goose egg. So whoever's a quarterback, they should be able to execute that. Thanks, Des, for the call. We appreciate it. And let's see who's next. I think it's Aaron from Riverside.
Hey, everyone. This is Aaron from Riverside, just calling after that okay game at Penn State. Looking back, looks like the enemy definitely switched up some of the play calling. I noticed it was just getting the ball out nice and quick for Martyn to make those nice, easy throws. They were, he looked solid. I feel bad because I feel like Garbers could have easily done that, once they changed the play calling. But, couldn't get down to the red zone. Some questionable calling. Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson thought that way too. So just watching Vanderbilt storm the field right now, big game for them. But, overall, just wanted to say that I think there is progress. You couldn't probably see it last week, but this week we definitely did, play calling wise on both sides of the ball. But, let's just hopefully we can get to the red zone and convert next week at Minnesota. So I'll be there. Looking forward to it. Go Bruins.
Yeah, Aaron, thanks very much for calling. And yeah, the play calling definitely did change. We talked about that earlier. A lot more short passes. And the other thing that I didn't really get into before was the running game as well. I just think they need to get downhill with this running attack. I think that's to harden strength. I think even with Keegan Jones, as shifty and as fast as he is, you can get him going on like an outside zone or something to where he gets out there and then makes a cut. But it just needs to be, stop with the dancing around in the backfield. I think Harden had a really big problem with that. Keegan Jones less so, but they just haven't been calling his number very much. But get the running game going downhill, whether it's Harden or Keegan or Berger, right? They have to get a better running game. And I just think that, for a large part of these games, EB is just not really, interested in doing it. But I think it could really help them a lot, and as well open up, hopefully more opportunities to do play action, which he doesn't do very much at all, and also kind of open up the opportunities to do, have more screens in the game. So I already talked about all that. I won't talk about it again. But yeah, I would like to see, we had some incremental improvement at Penn State. That took me from saying that I don't think this team could win another game against a Big Ten opponent to saying, well, now I can conceive of it, right? I could see it going well enough for them to actually compete in one of these games. So that's an incremental improvement. Maybe we can have another improvement here at the Rose Bowl this week against Minnesota. Minnesota's going to be riding high. They just stormed the field, maybe a little bit big-headed. They probably looked at the Bruins struggle in 4 straight games against these ranked opponents and really not do a whole lot. And they probably are like licking their chops to come to the Rose Bowl and do what Indiana did. The Bruins have to, stop dead in their tracks and hopefully just, have a nice, proud effort and get a win. But certainly we're looking for, wins aren't as important this year anymore. It doesn't seem like. But what is important is them showing the flexibility to change given the things that haven't worked this year and showing the ability to grow given how things have gone this year. I think it's important for Foster to grow and for Bieniemy to change. And if they do that, then we might have some, positive moments coming for us this season. But it all remains to be seen. Thanks for calling, Aaron, and let's see who's next. I think it's Leo.
Hey, Jake, it's Leo from Long Beach. Glad the game was at 9 a.m. And ends around noon and helps me get over being sad and I get to enjoy my evening. Hope you're having a good time up at Cal. Hope you share pictures of your daughter performing for the Cal band. Was impressed with special teams, like the punt coverage was amazing. And I hope we don't go back to punting is winning. But at least that's a highlight for our Bruins. Excited for Minnesota next week. I think based on some of the improvements, UCLA may step it up. Just a little concerned that UCLA will have an awesome first half, and then at halftime maybe adjustments are occurring or they get confident. I really don't know. Maybe you can share your opinion. It sucks seeing our team getting sacked and losing so many yards. Anyways, go Bruins, and let's hope the team is energized this week and gets ready for the Gophers. Take care. Go Bruins.
Oh, Leo, you bring up an excellent point that we didn't get to earlier in the show, so I thank you for that. And also, yeah, I'm going to be putting up pictures of my weekend up at Berkeley for that big top 10 matchup, ESPN Game Day with Megan, her marching and stuff. When we get a chance to record a podcast. Unfortunately, we're supposed to do that tonight, and my son's doctor's appointment kind of screwed that up, so I'm going to be trying to record with Megan later in the week. And like I said, I still have one that I haven't even edited yet for about her first experience marching in the game earlier in the year. So if you're a fan of the bare minimum, then
the bare minimum,
you'll have some things coming your way soon, I hope. With that being said, Leo, the adjustment thing is huge because you look at how this game, after the Hawaii game, I came out of it saying, well, look at how these coaches did. They go into the half down 13-0 or whatever, and they come out and they make some changes to the offense. And Garbers is able to, manufacture a bunch of scoring drives. And look, they came out and won this game. And look how proud we should be of these Bruins. And at least that's a positive sign about how this coaching staff is approaching things, right? And they're able to go into halftime and do some things to have a positive impact on the game. And then we have the Indiana game and the LSU game and the Oregon game and the Penn State game in which, oh my God, we already documented how horribly soul-crushing the first 2 drives of the Penn State game were. And then LSU, they come out, and I did think they showed some fight in the third quarter, but then it just kind of went backwards on them. So if I were eyeballing it, I would say Hawaii, they did pretty good with adjustments, right? And, just looking at the scoreboard. But I think they did make some changes that were productive. LSU, I can't pin that on adjustments. I have to pin that on the player execution because you can't make your way down to the 20 and then make plays to back yourself up 40 yards and end up with a 3rd and 36 or whatever they had. There is a little bit of this that's on the players, and that I think was definitely on the players because that was all, just implosion in that sequence. So LSU, I think would have to be at least a neutral. But the Penn State game just got beat down, and Oregon I think is a neutral too because they kind of hung with them in the third quarter. That was after they got that pick six gifted to them. So I don't know. I think the jury's out on adjustments at halftime right now with this team. I don't have a positive or negative feel. certainly now that they're playing a not top 10 opponent, I think there's some opportunity to have some good outcomes coming out of halftime, and I look forward to seeing it. Like maybe the middle eight will be important this game in the Bruins' favor instead of, coming out of the half and just, falling all over yourself for whatever reason, whether it's the coaches or it's the players' execution. But very good of you to point that out, Leo, and I appreciate it. And we'll have to see what happens. I'll see you at the Rose Bowl this weekend. All right, who is next?
Hey, what's Bruin Show? This is Carrie. Thanks so much for the post-cast, Mike. I agree with you on all your comments. I saw that Schlesinger, I'm butchering his name, Schlesinger, 15 tackles, was second in the country this week.
Straight baller.
So he's definitely a baller. Femi got a sack. Khachatryan was just always being great. The defense holding Penn State to, I think it was 89 yards. In fact, UCLA had slightly more rushing yards than Penn State. I think it was 93 to 89 rushing yards. I'm not sure if the offense changed a little bit to help boost Justin. I am a little hesitant to jump on the start Justin train because I don't think Ethan Garbers has had the benefit of a simplified offense, if that indeed is what happened. And in the end, there was still no offense with Justin, other than that late touchdown. I mean, it looked better, but never mistake activity for achievement. So I guess it's, they beat the spread. Okay. I mean, I think the defense is definitely worthy of some praise this week, and I'm glad Justin Martyn did as well as he did, and the offensive line did look a little better. So there are some improvements there, and against this caliber of team, I mean, it means a lot more. I guess Garbers is still, his ankle still, or his leg is still looking injured. I don't think they should start Garbers unless he can run. And I mean, he needs to feel comfortable running, especially with that offensive line. So even if Justin Martyn starts, I still think once Ethan Garbers is, sorry about the train. Once Ethan Garbers is ready, he should be able to start and try this new plan of ED. All right, that's all I got. Thanks so much. Look forward to your show. Go Bruins.
Thank you very much, Carrie, and don't worry about the train. I enjoyed hearing that. That was very fun. So, yeah, I think everything you said is on point, and me and Mike agree with you that it should be Garbers if all things are equal. But if he's not healthy, then absolutely go with Martyn. We're hoping for some better results at the Rose Bowl too. And what I will say is, you made a point to talk about how the defense played pretty well, and especially those peak performers, and we would have to agree with you on that. And something else that's important to remember about the team going forward is they just played this string of top 10 teams, and they're not playing those guys anymore. At least it looks like the schedule softens up at least a little bit, so that's got to cut in the Bruins' favor at least some, right? Minnesota has a very competent defense, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be Oregon or Penn State, right? Minnesota has an offense that's not nearly as good as what Indiana's throwing out there or what Oregon should be throwing out there or what Penn State has, even if Penn State was kind of playing it close to the vest. So in that regard, if the Bruins can give a good effort, if the Bruins can come with a decent plan, they should be a lot more competitive in these games regardless and give themselves a chance to win, going forward, if they can get over that, what we've been talking about for the first month, of that minimum level of offensive productivity or offensive competence. And they took a step in that direction with this game against Penn State, even if, as we both agree, it didn't amount to a whole lot yet, right? 11 points isn't anything to be super proud of. But the sad thing is that it's better than what they did before. So here's hoping that they can make another step in the right direction. And then, then they can compete in these games against, even though there are going to be some tough opponents on the schedule and you're going to be making these big trips, Nebraska, Rutgers, having Iowa and Minnesota at home, even though they've had big wins. Minnesota just coming off a big win. The Bruins should be in all these games. Like, there's no doubt about it. And if they're not, that is another huge, giant alarm bell ringing, right? If they get beat in this game against Minnesota, like they did to Indiana, who we now know is a pretty good team, then all of a sudden we're right back to, square one again, right? So that's what we're going to be looking for this week at the Rose Bowl. Carrie, thanks so much. Last word goes to Darth Diego.
Hey, Jake. Hey, guys. Great show. It's Diego. The Penn State game looks like a bounce off the bottom. They finally made some significant changes on the OL. Looks tremendously better. They didn't win. They didn't have great numbers, but you can tell the offensive line looks more balanced, looks more athletic. And I think from this point, we should expect them to get better, whereas the previous version was hopeless, I thought. So there's a spark of hope there. I think the factory setting is still 3-9 on this team. I think the 3 is a little bit more in ink instead of pencil. So that's where we probably are going to end up. It's still a disaster of a season, but at least they were able to salvage at least some honor from these great humiliating losses, in that they're probably going to get a little better. Martyn looks to be very similar to Garbers, unlike the Bruin media reports that there was a big gap between Garbers and Martyn. I don't think it's a very big gap. It doesn't look like a TJ is a half step too slow. We need to make some changes in the running back. The defense, so he is still the rock of the team. He's probably our best overall player. Femi looks like he could develop into an edge. We still have a weakness in the secondary named Kirkland. And, but otherwise defense looks pretty good. So 3-9 looks like about it. On the historical side, I think you guys have a totally distorted view of what happened here with this program. When Chip got here, it went bankrupt. There was no money. He's blamed for the lack of recruiting. There is a tantamount and more important reason to that, and that's there's no resources. So you should see, as resources improve, you should see recruiting improve. We would hope so anyway. You say Chip didn't want to do this, he didn't want to do that. You don't know Chip. You never talk to him. You don't know what he likes, what he doesn't like. You're just being told what to believe about him. All we can objectively say is he wasn't renewed and he left. That's a management problem. They mismanaged their crown jewel, the football program, and yet we still want to blame Chip because Jarman and Morgan Center are completely incompetent. So there you have it. You guys need to refresh your thinking on the program. Look at it from a broader perspective. It's a failed business. It went bankrupt, and they made no changes. They kept on with their bankrupt ways. That doesn't work in the real world. So that's why we are where we are. Anyway, on to the next one. Have a great week. Thanks for the show.
My God, Diego, I don't know if you've ever had a call where I was like 1,000% in agreement with you and then 1,000% in disagreement with you in the same call. But kudos to you, my friend, because that's what this last one was. I absolutely appreciate your perspective, and I don't think we could agree more about, it's kind of a bounce off the bottom, and I'm hoping that they're still bouncing upwards and they don't just bounce lower against Minnesota as far as like what this year in particular is. And your assessment of all the different positions, I can't disagree with any of that. We may quibble here and there, but I think you know what you're looking at when you look at a football game, and so very good. I'll say is right on, man. Keep going. I don't need to comment on that anymore. As far as what my perception is, or what Mike's perception is about what the program is, or where it was, or what our perspective is, I laid out what I laid out in the last episode to try to give some perspective about where this program has been and how it was kind of brought low during the Kelly era, even though they had the opportunity to kind of keep going upwards. And all I would point out is, to make the argument that they were under-resourced under Kelly, I don't really buy that. And that's because they were just coming off the Mora years where they literally built the facilities they have now with the money that Mora brought in. And then in Kelly's first year, I remember very, very clearly, and I just looked it up again, but there's an article written by the LA Times when the LA Times wasn't just a giant dirty rag of filth and lies. Nathan Fenno and David Wharton, who are still good reporters, they had a report in 2020 about the food budget that Kelly instituted in his first year there and how they spent, let's see, what does it say here? In 2018, the food budget doubled, and then the next year it doubled again. when they fired Jim Mora on his birthday, no less, and then hired Chip Kelly, they were taking a huge swing, and they gave Chip Kelly the keys to the kingdom, and they tried to give him everything he wanted to build the program in the way that he wanted to build it. And to say that we don't have insight into what Chip Kelly was thinking, what he wants to do, or what he doesn't want to do, well, I'm pretty sure he wanted to do funky stretches during the first quarter and the third quarter breaks during his games that were fairly unique, and they kind of went away after a couple of years. And I'm pretty sure he wanted to spend a lot of money on nutrition, and I'm pretty sure he had a lot of ideas about sports science and all this stuff. But it all kind of equated to not a whole lot. He chased away a lot of players that some would argue were very talented, and he built this from the ground up. He basically tore it down to the studs and turned in some of the worst records in school history. And we all had this patience because it was Chip Kelly who orchestrated this masterful program at Oregon. But at the end of the day, he turned in a 500 program overall, and he lost a lot of games that he had no business losing towards the end. And he lost all momentum in recruiting, started to forego high school recruiting almost entirely, and went exclusively to the transfer portal, which, by the way, he exploited masterfully for a couple of years, but he still couldn't win the games that he needed to win. Like, if he wins a couple just games here and there, each one of these years he gets to 10 wins, everybody has way different feelings, he's probably still coaching the Bruins, and the program's probably in a lot better state, quite frankly. But he doesn't get those wins, and he is unfriendly, outwardly unfriendly to all the people who are reporting anything on him. And it's not just Bruin Report Online. It's not just LA Times. It's all of those things. I personally saw him at a couple of media days, and he was very engaging and friendly. But that was the exception, not the rule. And if you're going to win 10-plus games every season, you can treat everybody however the hell you want because everybody's got what they want. They got a nice football program. But if you're constantly underachieving, you start with 3 of the worst seasons in school history, and then you back it up with your 3 years of, they almost got there, but not quite. What do you expect? And to say that he was under-resourced from the athletic department, I just don't think you can make that case given what he took over and what they tried to give him, So he shares at least some of the blame. And look, is Washington Center a bunch of rocket scientists at this point? No, absolutely not. But I also think they're a little trigger shy because of what they tried to do for Chip Kelly and what he rewarded them with. And I think that's the way I see it. And obviously we can disagree on that, Diego. And all of you out there can have your own opinions about it. But the reason I gave the stats on like kind of the coaches through the ages is that really, you know what? A lot of it has to do with how you run your program, how you make money, how you solicit money, and all those things. But UCLA, if they can just get the right guy as the head coach, it won't be that hard. And I think where, my opinion on this dovetails with Diego's is you're not going to get the right head coach if you are running your athletic department above the head coach like a circus. And that's kind of what it turned into at the end of the Kelly era. Right? Should we fire him? Should we not fire him? Oh, we're going to fire him. Oh, no, we're not. Oh, you're going to leave on your own volition? Okay, well, I guess we're going to hire a coach in February, and let's see where we're at. For that, there is no defense. But, Diego, thank you for calling, and I'm all fired up again, and now I'm sad. So thanks a lot for that. All right, Mike, it's time to get to What's Brewing with You.
What's brewing with you? You ask me. What's brewing with me? Yeah. What's brewing with you? What's brewing with me? What's brewing with you?
Mikey, what's brewing with you?
Well, aside from, thank God UCLA's game was at 9 a.m. because at noon it was over and I had the rest of the day to do stuff.
That part was nice.
The rest of the day consisted of just kids doing everything. My daughter had her first homecoming game, which unfortunately, Maranatha lost. It was a gripping loss at the last second. But still, it was fun.
Granada lost on a last-second overtime play, too. Double.
It was just, I don't want to criticize a high school team, which I've only seen like half the season, but there could have been better play calling. But Saturday, as I said earlier in the show, after the game, the kid's mother took them to do their hair appointments. Even Poppy got a haircut. So
Very nice.
the thing that I wasn't told was that this hair salon was in Manhattan Beach, which is quite a distance from East LA, Jake.
It is.
So after the game, I'm like wrapping up.
There's no hair salons.
Oh, there's no
between Pasadena and South Bay.
Oh no, there totally is. There totally is, Jake. There are thousands, literally.
But of course, it was because it was free, right? It's because it was free, right?
Oh God, no! It was probably top dollar.
I'm sorry. Cheap shot.
True shot. So anyway, after the game, Hugo and I got in the car.
Mighty
just
Hugo.
ran down there, drove down there, picked up Violet, brought her back to her friends way in Pasadena, and then came back, did the post game, saw the rest of the football.
Good job, Mike.
Saturday, and then on Sunday, then Hugo had a birthday party to go to. So yeah, it was just a busy ass weekend, and I just love it. When you have kids, when they're babies, it's all cool. It's like, oh look, they're all cute and all that.
They do what you want to do.
Exactly. But at the point, I was like, whenever my kids were like babies, I always thought like, yeah, can you like get older so like we can hang out and party? And now it's getting to that time where we are actually going out and like we can discuss social things and social events and all of that. So I'm absolutely loving it. The fact that I was just driving all over creation and just absolutely still tired, I don't mind because this is what I've been waiting for as a father. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, so what's happening this weekend? Nothing much. Yeah, I have the Minnesota game, but that's about it. So yeah, I'm trying to get rest. Oh, yeah, not that this is big news, but my show, The Big Disco on KQBH.
Breaking news.
Yes, breaking news.
What's brewing? News.
Breaking news on a weekly basis.
News just in.
So for those that for those of you that know, I have two shows at KQBH, 101.5 FM in Boyle Heights. My Wednesday night show, The Big Disco, and my Sunday night show, The Conversation.
I wish I had a scratching one.
Rocket. Yeah, I'm just getting tired, and because I have like child obligations, I just need to like bring stuff, down. I need to stop. I need to stop being busy all the time.
Sure.
So I'm consolidating. I'm dropping my Wednesday night show, The Big Disco, and moving it actually to Sundays, in which that is going to be. I'm still going to be doing an interview show. I'm still going to be playing music and playlists and all that. So now Sunday nights, 8 p.m., The Big Disco will be bringing you all the latest music and artists and everything that I've been trying to do. More in a consolidated state and more of a focused state, so that I can really bring out the best show possible. Because as much as I loved having my show on Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, when I have when it's a school night, yeah, it's not going to work. But 8 p.m. Sunday nights, The Big Disco reigns supreme. Jake, what's brewing with you?
That's awesome, Mike, and good job. I'm glad you're doing that.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah. What's with me is I had an awesome weekend that was 99% super awesome, cool, and 1% soul crushingly depressing.
Yeah.
Because for a weekend, for a night, for an evening, I was like the biggest Cal Bear fan. I was, I was bought in. I was ready to go. The Calgorithm was in my blood. I was enjoying life. I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah, Berkeley is actually really great.
Go
Bears!
All this stuff. California,
here we come.
Go Bruins!
Oh no, not that one. No, that was bad. But I was so into it because Memorial Stadium was rocking. I
Was it
went
sold
to
out?
a pep rally. Yes, it was sold out.
Oh, nice.
It was big time. It was fun. They were taking on Miami, a top 10 team. They had ESPN Game Day there. My daughter Megan was there. We're going to do a podcast at some point. I was supposed to do it tonight, and then Malcolm's concussion protocol got in the way. But I actually have an unpublished episode of Megan marching in her first game a month
Hells
ago.
yeah.
And then we're going to do a podcast about this experience with Game Day.
Really quick, just to get the timeline.
Yeah.
When did you see the game? When did you leave? When did you get to Berkeley?
That's great. So I watched the UCLA game on the way up the 5 freeway.
Okay.
So, my watching of it was actually pretty annoying to Sarah, but I was on autopilot a little bit, watching, and doing my thing. Not necessarily I don't necessarily recommend it, but, in a pinch, it's possible. But I did that. The game's over. We're only halfway up there. We get up to Berkeley about 3 o'clock. Megan is
that's plenty of time.
in the middle
Nice,
of a
nice.
break because she had to be up in Memorial Glade
Yeah.
at 5 in the morning
Yeah.
for the 6 o'clock in the morning game day. She was
Yeah.
out there standing around until like 9 o'clock. She got to see a guy kick a field goal for $100,000, which was pretty awesome. And then they leave from there. They had a little bit of a break. Then they had band responsibilities for like in the mid-morning.
Yeah.
Then they had a break from like 12 to 1, and then they had something else they had to do. Then when we got up there about 2:30, she was on a break for like about an hour and a half, and then we got to go see their pep rally in front of Sproul Hall, which is right by Center
nice.
Gate. It was awesome. I have a whole bunch of footage of all that, and very fun. And then we got to march with the band up to Memorial Stadium, which, like I said, having the stadium on campus is very, very cool.
Mhm.
We got the whole game day experience. I got to see how much I can't believe how much the band actually does physically. It's pretty intense and insane relative to, like they're not out there playing a football game, but oh my God, they're doing all sorts of marching in these big heavy uniforms with their instruments and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty big day for them. So I very much admire them for what they do. Then you get into the stadium, we got to see Megan march at halftime. We got to see the Bears ball out for
It was an incredible game, Jake.
For
Oh,
9/10 of a game.
Right?
And this is the thing too, is like I know Jamaal, and like I can't tell you how many Cal alums that I know. I know quite a few at this point, as working where I work and with Jamaal and everything. And all of them said to a person, they're like, this is what it's like to be a Cal football fan. This is what it's like to be a Bear. This is what it's like to be a Cal person. And it's like, that's what the band told Megan and their debrief too. It's like, it's so sad because everything was set up for them to have just a glorious night. And they were having a glorious night right up until they weren't. But I can't, just watching that game, they were up by 25 points. I want to say early in the fourth quarter even. And they ended up losing the game. But normally in those circumstances, like with Mike Leach, when the Bruins came back from like 35 down or whatever, and DTR standing on his head, you can point to moments where you're like, I can't believe the coach did X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
In this game, I can't even blame Wilcox for anything. I'm sure Cal fans will disagree with me on that, but literally in this game, Berkeley got that ginormous lead they got based on a bunch of big, kind of crazy lightning bolt plays. Other than that, their offense was horrible and they could do nothing. So when the big plays ran out, Miami, who, let's just say what it is, they're probably a better team on any given day than Berkeley is.
Yeah.
But Berkeley had them right by the fucking nuts. And it's so sad.
Up by 18, right?
25!
25, that's yeah.
And it was just such a crushing defeat. With that being said, it was still a fun experience. We got out of there. You asked when we got to the game. Got to the game in time for game time at about 6:30. Game was at 7:30. We left at somewhere in the neighborhood of midnight.
Yeah.
We got back to our hotel, somewhere in the neighborhood of 1:30. So, that is what it is. By the way, woke up the next day.
College football.
Had a great breakfast at the fucking Doyle Street Cafe, which I love it. If you're in Berkeley, in that neighborhood, go to Doyle Street Cafe. It's great. I had a great corned beef hash. It was wonderful. We had a nice time. But oh my God, sometimes it's hard to be a Bruin. Sometimes it's hard to be a Bear too.
Hells
And
yeah.
that was kind of a bummer.
Still.
All hail the Calgarism.
Dude, they were on fucking fire. Anyways, Mikey, it's been great. I love it. Yeah, the Calgarism is in full effect.
Let's go, Cal. Go Bears.
You guys are killing it right now.
Jake, go back to that robot thing and say, when it's time to party, we will party hard.
When it's time to party, we will party hard. When it's time to party, we will party hard. Give me another one. That's right.
Oh my God!
Here we go.
We just totally ripped off Andrew WK, and he's coming for us.
Yeah, don't get us sued, Mike. I don't have any money. All right. Anyways, guys.
See, if you can't have fun with a loss, what can you have fun with?
Just beat the fucking Gophers. That's all I want. just give me a win. Like, that's really all I want.
I'm serious. If any Minnesota fans who are by chance listening to this want to exchange proper cheese curds for proper tacos, I will be there. I will do that handoff.
Mike,
I'm just saying.
You can't get proper cheese curds going up the 5 if you stop in Kettleman City, Mike. Bravo Land. Like, I literally, actually, before you leave today,
where's that?
It's halfway at the 5. There's an inn out there. There's Bravo Land, and it's just a barren stretch of land. But if you're going up to Oakland, if you're going up to Berkeley, you're going up to San Francisco, stop at Bravo Land and get yourself some cheese curds. Literally, Mike, you're going to walk out right now. I'm going to give you a cheese curd because I have some in the fridge that I bought 2 days ago.
Actually, I found out that Trader Joe's has, they're frozen, but frozen cheese curds.
Well, these are not. These are fresh. Fresh from
exactly. See,
from Sunday or whatever. Anyways, Mike, let's just get to the Rose Bowl. let's not have an embarrassment. Let's not be down 30-3 at half. Let's not be just getting smoked by Indiana. Let's have a valiant effort. Maybe we saw a valiant effort at LSU for a half. We saw a surprising effort. I'm not going to say valiant because they never put the game pressure on. But Penn State was better than we thought.
Yeah.
How about we have a better than we thought game at the goddamn Rose Bowl? Huh? How about that? Could we have that? Mike, could we?
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Okay, let's do that. Until next time, I'll come back with you with a post game. Mike, thanks for the post game last week. And until next time, thank you everybody for calling. We love you all dearly. Call next week. Until next time, Mike, what do we say?
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That was the What's Bruin Show.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's got to be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, bro, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.